In this video, you are going to learn how to multiply or divide numbers written in scientific notation. Using this example on the screen, it says the Confederation Bridge connects New Brunswick to Prince Edward Island. The main part of the bridge rests on piers that form 43 segments. What is, let me just underline, point out our question here. It says, what is the approximate length of the main part of the bridge? So all they're saying is that, what is the length of the main part of the bridge that rests on the two piers that form 43 segments? Express your answer in scientific notation. So this again is telling us that whatever our solution is, it must be written in the form of scientific notation. So looking at the picture, which is the bridge here, it says that the length of one segment is this. Therefore, what is the length of 43 segments? So let me just rewrite what the length for the one segment, which is going to be 8.2 times 10 raised to the second. Let's just put that in parentheses. And to find the length or the main part of the bridge, right? The length of the main part of the bridge, we are going to multiply these two quantities. If you look at these two quantities, you notice that one of them is written in scientific notation and the other is written in what we call standard form, or it is a whole number. In order for us to do this, we need to convert both numbers to one form. Because our question says that the instruction says that we need to express our answer in scientific notation, I am going to convert this number that is in standard form in scientific notation so we can have one form of number and it is easier to write our number in scientific notation. Now, how do we write 43 in scientific notation? To write a number in scientific notation, you must have two factors. The first factor must be less than 10 but greater than or equal to 1. And the second factor must be a power of 10. All right, or that factor must be multiplied by a power of 10. So we're going to put in our multiplication. Here, how do we make 43 be less than 10 but greater than or equals to 1? In a whole number, there's an invisible decimal point behind the last digit in the number. So there's an invisible decimal point behind this 3. To make this 43 less than 10 but greater than or equals to 1, I need to move that decimal place to the left one place. So if I move that decimal point one place, this number now is going to be 4.3, which is less than 10 but greater than 1. So it's going to be 4.3, right? And my power of 10 here is going to be 10 raised to the 1. The exponent is based on how many decimal places I move my point, right? And I just move 1 to the left, right? So now that I have my number written in scientific notation, I can go ahead and multiply. So it's going to be 8.2 times 10 to the second times 4.3 times 10 to the 1. So let me just put a parentheses here. All right, remember this means times. All right, so both numbers, as I said, is written in scientific notation. Now I can go ahead and multiply. However, when you are multiplying numbers in scientific notation or dividing, what we do is we apply the law of exponent to the power of 10. So here, based on the law of exponent, once the bases are the same and you are multiplying, you keep the base, which is the 10 to the 2 and 10 to the first, and you add the exponent. So if I add 2 plus 1, my exponent is going to be 3. So I apply the law of exponent, which is the product rule, to the powers of 10 here. Bases are the same. You keep the base at the exponent. Now, I am going to multiply these two factors here. 8.2 times 4.3. So it's going to be 8.2 times 4.3. When I multiply those two, I am going to get 35.26. Now, looking at this here as it is, remember the question says that part of the instruction said that we should express our answer in scientific notation. Looking at this, it is not written in scientific notation, so therefore we need to write it in scientific notation. How do we know that? If you look at the first factor, 35.26, this first factor here is greater than 10. This first factor here is greater than 10. And one of the rules is that when you are writing number in scientific notation, the first factor must be less than 10, but greater than or equal to 1. So we need to make this number be less than 10. To do that, we are going to move our decimal place here to the left. If I move my decimal place 1 point to the left, it's going to be 3.526. Now, this factor here is less than 10. But remember, once you move the decimal point, or the exponent here is going to increase. If we move it one place to the left, the exponent is going to increase by 1. So instead of us having 1, 3 there, is going to be 4. So this is now our solution. So based on what the question asks, it says, what is the approximate length of the main part of the bridge? And this is the approximate length. Approximate means that it is not exactly, it is an estimation. And this is how you multiply or divide numbers written in scientific notation. Just to review what we just did, to write numbers written in scientific notation, first you look if those quantities are in the same form. If they are not in the same form, you need to write both numbers using scientific notation. Then 2, you apply the laws of exponent when the bases are the same, right? So if you're dividing, you would keep the base and subtract the exponent, and you would divide the first two factors. If you are multiplying, you will keep the base and you add the exponent and multiply the first two factors. However, if at the end your answer is not in scientific notation, you need to make your answer in scientific notation by making the first factor be less than 10 but greater than or equal to 1 by either moving decimal point to the right or to the left.